Hi everybody. Today I want to talk to you about lids. I just made these two little canister container type things, and you can probably see the difference in the lids. This one sits way too far. It sits way too far into the gallery. The gallery is actually more slanted and deeper. Maybe the lid might be a little different. Let's see. Yes, this was my demonstration also of an external gallery, which is really actually a nice gallery. And it's up a little further. They differ from one pot to the next. It depends on what you're demonstrating. Anyway, this lid sits up, and this one won't fit that one, or I'd switch. The opening is actually bigger in this one than this one, but I need to make another lid for this. So this is already pretty bone dry. So how am I going to make a lid for this after the fact and get it to fit? And I'll show you my trick on doing this. Let me set you back down here and see if I got you in there. Okay. The way I do it is I'll measure, and I'll use my little wire coat hanger thing. You can use either one, but I'm going to get this point inside the gallery up to the inside of this edge over here. So I'm kind of pointing to it with my stick. Is that on there? Yes. Okay. Then this side is going to go to, as exact as I can get it, it's going to go to the top of, and you have to make sure that you're in the middle. You don't want to measure over here from side to side. You want to make sure you're exactly as close as possible in the middle of your opening. So I'm going to go over here. So these two are going to form a line across. Well, let me see what I've got that I can lay across there. Okay, that's pretty much in the middle and maybe a little to this side. So I put my oh, I'm trying to get that mosquito. Been munching on me. I'm gonna get my, let's see if I got it in the right place. I'm gonna get that left side of my measure over there, and the right side is gonna be right on the top of this rim. And that's the measurement that I'm gonna use to make this part right here, to make this part of my lid. Now this part I can measure with my other calipers to make sure that that'll go in there, my little inside part, and that's a pretty good estimate right there. So I will tighten this up and lay it aside and hope that I don't drop it and get it out of measurement. But then I've always got this pot that I can remeasure. Well, now what am I going to do about this drying? So I have to do something different here. So I can't just measure that and expect that to fit, because the wet clay will shrink up a whole lot. So I'm measuring dry clay, and I'm going to make a wet piece of clay to fit in there. So I have to make the wet clay larger in order for it to fit nicely when it shrinks. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this tip on the inside of this gallery, and then I'm going to put this tip on the outside of the gallery, but it's just going to be up there on the top of the gallery. So It's kind of a hard measurement to get, but I think that'll work. And I made it, let's just right, let's see, so this is gonna go right to the edge of that inside gallery, and this is gonna be, and this is gonna be right on the, oops, I need to be able to push that. Maybe I should start on this side. So push that in until it goes inside. So that's how big I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make the inside like that. That's how much bigger this inside part is gonna have to be thrown in order to fit that when it shrinks. And then this one, this is only going to have to be, let's see, get that right in the middle. This is going to be about 1/4 of an inch larger. Now this can be, that can be a little bit smaller, and still, if it's loose in there, it doesn't have to fit exactly. If it fits too close, then you're going to be chipping your gallery. So you can have it so that it isn't real tight. This is the edge that you want to be real nice and snug, because that's what makes it look nice here. Okay, so we're going to throw that particular lid. Okay, so see the difference in the way these fit? When you get a profile on them, they just don't this one just looks 100% better, and this one will. I just need to raise that up to look like that, and it'll look right then. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute while I get some clay out. You want to throw it off the hump, especially if you're going to make a lid like we have on our little Munchies canisters. So we're going to throw it upside down, and the first thing I do is I get a little kind of a doorknob looking thing sort of separated from the rest of the lump of clay, because probably I'll be cutting it off here somewhere right around this area. So I just want to sort of, in my mind, in my vision, I want to be able to separate this from everything else. So I'm going to open this up, and remember, I've got 2 measurements. I think that's the right one. Let's see. Yep, that one's about right. This is going to be for the outside edge of the lid, and this one that's on the calipers, this will be for the outside of the part that fits in the inside. So since I'm going to have that up here first, I'll keep these handy so that I can use those. So I'm going to slow that down slightly. I'm just going to open this up, and I'm going to throw that inside part, and I'm just kind of pushing it where it needs to go to form the shape that I want. So I kind of like the dome on that lid. Remember, this is upside down. I kind of like the dome with that little bit that sticks on the inside, because that way if you turn your container sideways, your lid is less likely to fall off. So now we've got a little ways to go here. Quite a bit, really. So let me push down in the middle some, and I'm going to get more clay, and we're going to come to the outside. We're going to push this out. Even though this is off the hump, you still have to compress this area in here as much as possible, because you can still get cracks. Now, to shape this so that it's got a little knob on the top, we're going to be eventually we're going to turn it upside down to throw that little knob. So my main measurements are going to be in width. It doesn't always matter too much how deep it is, because we can always cut. We can always shorten that. Just if I have it wide enough here. Okay. That was that one canister had quite a wide, no, I got it too wide now. So let's collar that in, which is just as well, because I was feeling a little too far out there. So I'm going to shorten that because I can already tell that it's too deep. So I think I want it to be somewhere right around in here. It doesn't take a whole lot of this little insert part to keep the lid on, just enough to keep it from falling sideways. So let's get a leather, and I want to keep that kind of round, because if it hits the side of the gallery, you don't want to knock a chip in it. Get the water out of here. Let's see how we're doing. Whoa, that couldn't be better. Good. That's good. So now we're going to work on this part that's going to be, remember this is upside down, so I'm going to work on the part that's going to be out here. I have to remember that the gallery in this wide opening one is quite a bit larger than the gallery. You know, the opening is just wider, it's just larger. So I was demonstrating two different things when I made that, and if I had probably, and at different times, if I sat down and did both of them together, they'd probably look more similar. That's the thing, if you're going to make repeat wear, probably wouldn't hurt to do as much of it as possible in one sitting. Now I'm going to cut a little ridge on your hair. I'm going to just get right there. So that's where I'm going to try to cut it off, or try to get it separated from that, because I want all this stuff from here up to be left on there so that I can make a little domed lid here. Okay, so let me get a wire, a string as it were, and we will take that from right there. Let's do that. And then let's take it off and set it onto another bat. And so there you have that. We're going to let it sit up, then we're going to turn it upside down. I'm going to try to keep this as moist as possible. I will put something over this to slow the drying down, and then when I can, I'll turn it over and throw this part. So that one's ready to just let it sit for a bit. Okay, so if I was just, let's make another one. Let's just, so get your little doorknob, because you want to I could hear that mosquito back again. Can't believe it's still alive. It's been out here for a couple of days. With no blood. Quit it. So I'm going to open up and go pretty deep in there if I'm going to make a domed lid. So basically I've got a little bowl or a tiny cup on the top of this lump, and lost my sponge. Okay, I'm going to slow down slightly. Now on this one I can push, well, I probably could collar it first, and then now what I'm going to do is just basically fold that little shape, unlike the way I did the other one. So I'm just going to pick a spot here and start pushing it in. Whoa, I think I need to slow it down some more. When your clay starts going wonky and wanting to get that centrifugal force going wacky, that's when you know you need to slow it down, because that doesn't throw it so much out of round. Okay, so this, that might even fit it better. We'll be checking them out. So I've almost got a little fold right here, and this might work really well for that deep slanted gallery. So let's check our measurements on this one. So we had that nice big okay, so if this is around, yeah, right there, and then this is slightly larger, then we're kind of in business. So push that down just a bit, then that could be a very tall lid. All right, so let's cut that one off, and we'll put that on the same bat if we can get it there without tearing everything up. Okay, so see, this one's got like so, but this part right here is much steeper, so that might help matters. Okay. I'm not going to take great pains with it because I don't have anything that I'm making this for. I'm just showing you how to do it. So I'm going to open the center a little bit and get the center to the thickness that I want. Now this one is going to be totally flat. The top, and I'm making it upside down, so the top of it is very similar to the one we just made. Kind of one of those all in your mind kind of things. You just have to be sure that you're thinking it through. And so this is one of those lids that you would pick up with hand on both sides and just drop it down into something like I have a garlic container that I can show you that has a lid like this. We want that to come all the way over to there. And you want to be sure you compress the bottom on this, because you're going to let this dry on the bat, because you want that top of that thing to be perfectly straight. So there it is basically. Let me clean off my bat. Don't let lids intimidate you, because it's just like throwing a little bowl, or a little, it's like a little plate and a bowl in the middle of it. It's kind of like something that you might throw a cylinder, a real short cylinder with a foot on it. And so it's really just a different size of something you probably already know how to throw. Whoa. Okay, I'm going too fast. So get that back in there, get this kind of under control. Oops, wrong side. Under control right here. And then I always like to sort of tilt these into the center, this little thing that goes into the throat of whatever it is, because it makes it easier to come off and on. There you go. Okay, remember how I was talking about the little canisters or the garlic keeper that I made the flat lid for, and we made it upside down? This is exactly what I was talking about. So this is how it was thrown, flat on the wheel. I did put a little, actually, I could have shown you this, but I just kind of put my stick underneath this and turned up the edge just a little bit so that it sort of cradles that part of the rim of that. So that's how that goes on there. And I like these because I like them flat. I like them with the little knobs on top too, because I can take that and just set it there. I don't have to find a place out here on the counter and run the risk of breaking a delicate little top. So this is thrown flat on the bat. Okay, and then it's allowed to dry on the bat, and I make the little knob for it right there. So when it dries, all it needs is a little sponging off, and it's ready to bisque fire. I think there was one. Oh, and this one is a little honey jar. And so the throat, I'm calling this a throat. I don't know what else to call it. Maybe this is the throat and this is something else. But this was also thrown the same way, upside down on the bat. And this was thrown right side up on the bat. Right, this was thrown like this. this one was thrown like this. This one was thrown like this. However, this one sits on the pot that it's for, just exactly like that. But these are turned upside down to go onto those little things. And so this guy is, this has little tiny openings, so it needed a, you know, when you shake this, the lid doesn't come off. When you shake this, the lid doesn't come off. So if you pick it up and carry it someplace. And this one sits inside of a gallery like that. So now this isn't a very good example, but this was also thrown just like that with the little knob on the top. It has a little tiny gallery there that it sits in. And so let's see what else. This pot has a knob on the top. It was thrown like this without this knob. So it was thrown, all of this was measured. I've turned up the edge on this so that it would cradle this little rim. Then when I was trimming it to bevel this edge, I threw the little top that goes on here. So there's another way of making that. So this is another little one that got thrown. This was probably thrown off the hump, and it has a little ridge right here that goes down in there. This was thrown later, or it could have been trimmed onto there later. This one is very similar to the first two that I made on this video, where we haven't trimmed the upside down part yet. So, okay, we'll come back with more lids if I can find some around the house here.